All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the You, Me, and BCC podcast.
Oh, that was a nice
Each
work-in.
podcast? Question mark. Thanks for joining us today. I will get into all this stuff. We don't even really. I have stories in the show notes just because I always do, but we don't really even need stories tonight because a lot happened, and holy crap, there's a lot to talk about. No question what we got to talk about today. And that is Bitcoin Cash or Bcash, or which one it should be called, because some people argue about it and there's still flame wars going on over it. Anyway, I am Daniel Brown. I'm here with
Tim Baker.
and apparently we just lost Zach.
Where
He
did
literally
go? I haven't been looking at the page. I haven't been looking at the stream. All right, he's back.
he's like, yeah, screw this. I can't do this show.
God damn it.
What's up, Zach? How's it going?
I'm sorry, my internet's a little shady. I was gonna say something super. Or I said something super funny right as my internet.
It was
right
great.
as my.
Exactly what happened to Daniel a little bit ago. The CIA has moved on Zach. Like he is spreading the
Yeah,
word.
screw Daniel. We're going after Zach.
I'm
All
just
right,
gonna
guys. Well,
people.
anyway, like I said, it's pretty clear what we got to talk about today, and we are just going to dive into it momentarily. First off, though, that you are all reminded about the place to be tonight, and that is you, me, and btc.com/live, and that'll take you right here to our landing page. No, we did not change our URL, so it's still utc.com/live. You got the video here. You got the chat here. Once again, we got Rick kicking things off for us. Thanks for joining us, Rick. We got some share buttons if you want to use them. We got show notes. We got some links to some stories. Like I said, we may or may not get into them too much because the stuff that happened, and we just got to cover it from head to toe. We got some extra tweet buttons down here, and here's our poll. I actually started this, I guess, yesterday for the poll tonight because I'm still frickin' curious. Seriously, which is it? BCC or BCH? That's something I would like to know what you think. So that's at the bottom here at you, me, and btc.com/live. So Tim, how are you feeling about the fork? Are you feeling forked up? What the
forked up all about it. My normal solution to that feeling, which is terrifyingly just more and more common, is just to shut down, not care at all. Okay, Zach is now being completely silenced by the CIA or the NSA or the FBI. So what he needs to do, in my mind, is our podcast is getting fucked with, so we need to just not care, and we're just gonna go through it. That's mostly what I'm doing with this right now. I was kind of actually waiting. I'm going to say it was for the authenticity of the episode, but it is most likely because of a laziness on my part, where I was going to spend most of my time learning it today and then seeing how that goes whenever I talk about it, and I forget everything and mix different articles together.
In some senses, I'm in the same boat. I haven't taken the time to do a single thing with Bitcoin Cash yet. I haven't loaded it into a wallet. I haven't transferred it. I haven't sold it. So in that sense, I'm in the same boat.
That's because you can't. That's because you can't do anything with it besides load it into a wallet yet. So
well, right. I haven't. I've been freaking busy, and I'm gonna get even busier this weekend. So I don't know when I'll get to all this, but I've at least been trying to keep an eye on Bittrex because I know they're doing the trading, but when I checked yesterday, they weren't accepting deposits, and some other ones weren't accepting deposits because, I mean, Bitcoin Cash blocks were taking anywhere from an hour to 6 hours, So they, it'd take forever to accept deposits. And even if you wait 6 hours and get a confirmation, you still can't really trust that it won't be attacked or written by a portion of the regular mining power.
And I was reading somewhere Oh, sorry. I was reading somewhere that their difficulty algorithm is super odd. Like every 5 blocks, it gets significantly harder or something. I don't understand it exactly, but that's just what I read.
I could be wrong, but my understanding was that it's still Bitcoin. Difficulty is the same. And that's why it took a while to mine the first block, because the difficulty is the same. Sudden, the estimate I saw was like 13 or 14% of the hash power. So their hash power got cut drastically, but the difficulty was the same.
Oh.
How to mine the first block and several ones later. But you are correct that it does have some oddities. I don't know the exact numbers here, but in order to account for that extra or that mining power drop and therefore the longer block times, in order to account for that, they built into it somewhere where, after a while, the difficulty would automatically drop so that you wouldn't be waiting 6 hours for every block. If it was taking a long time, then they would lower the difficulty. That was my understanding. Now, Bitcoin already does that. Every, I want to say 2 weeks, Bitcoin it adjusts the difficulty to match the hash power to shoot for a 10-minute block time. So the difficulty already adjusts automatically. But my understanding is that they added the option to speed up that adjustment so that they wouldn't be stuck with super low or super slow blocks long time. That's
okay.
That's what I got. And we do have Matthew in the chat. Thanks for chiming in here. Bittrex is now taking deposits, but you need 20 confirmations. So that takes us to the next big question. Are any of us interested in using Bittrex to sell our Bitcoin Cash? That's a question for every single Bitcoiner out there. Anyone that owns Bitcoin now owns Bitcoin Cash.
Unless your Bitcoin was in Coinbase, and then
right. Yeah, that's another big one to talk about. I don't actually think I linked this one in the show notes. I should, and if I remember. But yeah, they actually just today, and it's hilarious. They announced that they do now plan on supporting Bitcoin Cash. And it is January 1st, 2018. So they're like, oh yeah, 5 months later, we'll make sure you have your Bitcoin Cash. Don't you worry about a bit, okay?
Wait, they'll give all of their users Bitcoin Cash, or they'll like support buying, trading, selling, exchanging Bitcoin Cash?
Both. They are gonna anyone that had Bitcoin in there at the time, which should not have been too many people, because they sent out some emails and a lot of people should have withdrawn. But then at the same time, the majority of people might not have had any clue what the fork was even going on.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Well, yeah. So I was something like there were a couple articles going around that Coinbase was pulling out like billions of dollars of cold storage Bitcoin to supply all of the withdrawals. But that's super interesting because we've talked about this before, but I'm like a firm believer in the Coinbase effect for like price support for coins. So if they do support Bitcoin Cash, then I feel like the value is obvious, just like any cryptocurrency is pretty volatile right now, but it should.
Oh yeah, so by January 1st.
Yeah, so like when Coinbase adds it, it should go up a lot.
Or down. That's the thing. Nobody knows. And I could definitely see there were already people threatening to sue because they didn't think they were going to get Bitcoin Cash out of Coinbase. But if the price drops between now and January 1st, now they'll probably come out ahead of that deadline. They're probably just giving themselves a good buffer. But still, if the price drops between now and then, I could see some really pissed off customers. Because they're going to claim, and that's the thing, like, even if they're super lazy and they wouldn't have sold today or this week or this month, like, oh, well, I could have sold and you didn't let me, so you owe me that difference. I think we lost Zach again, but would you be friggin' pissed if I don't know, maybe you do or did have money in Coinbase, but if they didn't give you your Bitcoin Cash as to it for a couple months, where would you be sitting? Would you be knocking on their door?
No, probably not, because I don't know. This is, I didn't say this before, but like
Chalk it up as a loss.
Sorry, what?
Are you saying you just chalk it up as a loss? I mean, that's fine. You got to do that sometimes, and it sucks, but sometimes it's just not worth going after.
I mean, what would I do? How would I go after that? Like,
well, that's what I'm wondering. Good, like
what court's gonna be like? I'm gonna be like, they split this currency into two things, and it wasn't real before anyway, but you kind of ruled that it was real, and then they split it into two things because we have to make the block size bigger, and they're gonna be, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't give a shit.
I can see that.
No one's gonna help me.
This like 8-year-old judge is like, shut up, you nerd. Go home. I don't care.
Yeah, no,
I don't give a
fucking little nerd. I beat you up in high school. Get the fuck out of here.
But it's also funny.
He's not allowed to swear.
Like, true. It's funny though, because not funny, but like to sue, you have to show like some sort of like material damage, but so even if they had the Bitcoin Cash now, like, well, I guess what's his name said in the chat that Bittrex.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, we lost him again, but. Yeah, Bittrex is accepting
they're trying to fight
deposits after. I don't know if I actually got this out, but the 20 confirmations is what they're waiting for at the moment.
Yeah, you said
which I don't know if the difficulty has adjusted, but presumably the confirmations might still be a little slow. And even at 10 minutes, 20 confirmations puts you at what 200 minutes, so 3.5 hours. So yeah, you're going to be waiting a while to deposit. But somebody said he dumped it. Who was that in the chat there? Oh, I lost it. But yeah, it was Rick. Yeah, Rick said. So Tim, I know you said you've been lazy, but are you what do you think is going to happen to the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin Cash price? Are you feeling like you need to? Because I'm still up in the air. I don't know if I need to sell it right away. And I'm wondering what you think. Do you feel the need to somehow redeem it and sell it as soon as you can?
I don't think again, it's probably more out of laziness, but then I'm really good at justifying it after. And it's just that I think, like I've said before about some stuff, I'll give stuff probably like a couple weeks, because then that's whenever the initial kind of like, oh, it's working kind of maybe falls off. Like, it's not worth as much, but you can maybe sell it for more. Like, I
guess so. But are you saying there's a chance you would keep it after a week if it's doing pretty well?
No, I'm saying what I'd probably look into doing is selling it after about a week or so. It's like hoping that it goes up in value.
Okay. So
before stuff starts to kind of crack and get messed up, if it's going to happen.
Right. Which, well, first of all, before we get too far along, I always got to make sure we're reminding people this is not even remotely financial advice. Clue.
Take all of your Bitcoin and your cryptocurrency problems to municipal court and argue over every little dollar that you lost.
Yeah.
This man didn't ship me coffee. I want it back, please, officer. Please arrest him.
Yeah. Where am I then? I guess I'll sell. I guess, like most things in life, just take it slow, right? As Tim would say, slow and heady. I mean, just I'll because the other thing is it is a lot of work, or at least you got to be careful and everything when redeeming your Bitcoin Cash into a Bitcoin Cash wallet. And which that was one of the articles I linked. It was a super useful article, and I believe it's still going through updates. That's from Bitcoin Magazine. Aaron van Weerdum or whatever. We've done his stories before. But yeah, so at least meticulous to transfer Bitcoin Cash. So what I'm saying is, for that reason, I'll transfer a little bit, sell it, and then wait a little while, see what happens. Different wallet, maybe sell it, and then wait a while. So because it's a lot of work, I don't feel like doing it all at once anyway. So I'm going to do a little bit, wait a while, do a little bit more, and in the end, I might have some left over that I'll just keep for a while. You never know. I think we got you back for a little bit anyways, Zach. Where are you standing here?
True. Yeah, my internet's terrible tonight for some reason. There's like a storm and stuff outside, even though our internet's underground. I don't know what's going on. So I'm kind of just treating it like any other currency right now. Like I knew I didn't want. We talked about this last episode. I knew I didn't want to dump it right away, and I'm still not really going to. I'm just sort of holding it long term. Maybe long term is like a month or something. I don't know, but like if I do something with it, I think I'll just, since it is like free money essentially, I think I'll just dump it into some altcoins besides Bitcoin, see if any of them go somewhere. And if I lose it all, I'll still be in the same place as I was before the fork.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, there was a funny tweet I saw this morning. Some guy was like, I vote that we fork Bitcoin every day for free money. I was like, hell yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Forks on forks on forks. Mr. Hire says, whenever you're unsure what to do, it's best to stay pat. I mean, a lot of people advise long-term investments, just like Zach was saying. And yeah, you could take that position and say, hey, Bitcoin Cash may never be as good as Bitcoin, but maybe you do expect it to hang around. And I mean, as long as you don't expect it to disappear, within a couple months, it's probably fair, which I don't expect it to disappear. So it's probably fair to say long-term, yeah, it'll probably go up. I don't think it's going to touch the original Bitcoin, but yeah, I think it's going to go up. I mean, if it hangs around, give it a year, 2, 10, and yeah, maybe it'll be at $2,000, $5,000. I don't know. So yeah, long term is a good idea. With that said, I'm still tempted to dump part of mine just because I would like to snag some free money. Now, that's another thing we got to talk about. I mean, a lot of people have had discussions over, well, two of the things I just said. First of all, is it free money or not? And second of all, which one is the original Bitcoin? Most people are going to say Bitcoin Core. All right, SegWit coin, whatever you want to call it. Most people are going to say that because it's the same developers. And if you go to anywhere that accepts Bitcoin, Overstock, or wherever, Dell, Purse.io, Xbox, Microsoft, whatever, they're all still working on the original Bitcoin. So I've heard some people say, mostly on Free Talk Live, I love those guys, and they covered this fork a lot, which they admitted, like, we're talking about Bitcoin way too much for being a national radio show about anything. But okay, so where am I here? I'm wondering which one you guys think is the original, and if you would give any credence to the idea that Bitcoin Cash is actually the original, because they suggested that the original is gone and they're both kind of different, which is true in a sense, but still, like, I don't know, like, it's so obvious. Like, of course, Bitcoin Core, like, that's the one that everybody still uses, the one that is going to be what you're transacting with all of your original wallets. All right, so where you at, guys? Any thoughts on which one is the original?
I think Bitcoin should obviously be the original, and Bitcoin Cash needs not a new name, but they need a Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash is hard to say, so needs a new name.
There was a lot of people arguing about that too, because they thought about calling it Bcash, and then somebody suggested that calling it Bcash was an attack by Bitcoin Core trying to diminish its brand or something. Yeah, jeez, this Flame Wars, you guys need to just chill the frick out. Holy crap. Who cares what you call it? Everyone knows what Bcash is. Okay. Everyone knows what Bitcoin Cash is. Everyone knows what BCC is. That's another one. They had to change some exchanges. Sorry, I know I'm ranting. I think I cut you off like 6 times now, Tim.
You did.
Some exchanges had to switch from BCC to BCH because there was already a coin using BCC. Like, okay, fine. Like, do what you got to do. But still, everyone knows on this show, if I say BCC, they know what it is. And if I have to specify Bit Connect coin or whatever the other one was, I would say that. And everyone knows what BCH is. Like, who freaking cares? We've had enough flame wars, okay?
Daniel,
sorry, Tim.
The powers that be are trying to do this. It's because,
yeah,
like what Rick says in the chat, he says, whenever you fork Bitcoin, it could confuse noobs who want to invest. How do they know which one to invest in? It creates a new barrier. So
they don't.
You're right. New barrier is a good thing. F the noobs.
Honestly, that's not too far. Sorry, go ahead, Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
The point of it is, it could very much, like, I could see that. The problem is just then you are separating at least one kind of Bitcoin from the Bitcoin that you want to say, well, we're just going to give this so people can use it over. Do they still support text, like an SMS style transaction?
I mean, there would have to be a centralized layer that would handle all that.
Well, no, like, what did John do that one time with his flip phone?
Coinbase. It was all centralized through Coinbase. So he could text Coinbase and say, send half a Bitcoin to this address.
Anymore, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually like, I actually don't believe, I think noobs are important because like transaction volume boosts price, generally speaking, and noobs will boost transaction volume and all that. But it does confuse them.
I agree, but still, like, just do some research. Who cares? So you have to look something up. What's the difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash? Bitcoin itself is already complicated enough.
But that's kind of the problem, though, is that it is almost just it's kind of fucking up the whole point of.
So what? So somebody doesn't use Bitcoin. I'm still gonna.
No, I understand that. I understand the idea of it being decentralized for like more and more people, I think is kind of dying as it gets kind of done up like as far as it actually being something that's not run by companies, like that's probably what's going to happen as far as it's just going to get run by companies. But for it to actually be like amongst people is kind of dying out as it gets more confusing, because someone coming into it now is completely like their view of everything, their view of all of these companies is completely different from even like, how long ago did you start doing it, Zach?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, I mean Zach is way in front of all these idiots today. He's made like millions of dollars. It's crazy right now.
Yeah, I've been it since, what was it, 2014, 15? 2015, I think.
Yeah, and like even your like it's like 2 more years at least being aware of it. And
that's actually a really good point.
Is even weirder than someone looking at it now, where they're like, this is way too confusing to actually like figure out for normal people. We need companies to be like setting up and making it easier to use.
Okay, so you're okay. I think I'm getting it now. At first, I was gonna say like that doesn't. I still don't care. Like so newbies can't understand it. Like, what do I care? But you're saying the reason I should care is not for the newbies' sake, but because newbies are going to request centralization in order to help them understand it, or not really request it, but there's going to be market demand for that kind of centralization.
Seem like it makes a lot more sense. Like
that's actually a really good point. I agree with that a lot, I guess, because like even when I started, and I just started yesterday, like Circle still sold Bitcoin, or like you could use Bitcoin on Circle. You could still upload freaking Bitcoins onto crypto games. If you were in the US, like all these things, and now people are like, people can't use people like know Bitcoin, like who are new to it now through Coinbase. Like that's how people find out about Bitcoin by and large, just because they're so big, and with all of this fork nonsense, people. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I agree, I guess.
If you could, as many people have done, you could compare it to the internet. And the idea would be that the internet is so complicated, and there's all different kinds of internet, broadband and DSL and dial-up, maybe. But the idea would be that the companies are going to step in and just take control of broadband in a certain area. And a different company is just going to step in and take control of 4G in a certain area. And yeah, I don't know the difference between 3 and 4G, or 4G and 4G LTE. But the companies, because I don't know how the frick to connect to any of them or use any of them in a decentralized manner, they're just going to step in and control it. I'm not saying I agree with all that, but it sounds like that's the idea that we might have to worry about that you're saying, Tim.
Yeah, partly that, partly the like them stepping in and doing it, but then also you have stuff like net neutrality where it kind of gets messed around, where they're saying where like where stuff is coming from and the reason why people are doing things. Like,
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, is it like obviously internet companies step in and take something that's new and give it to more people, but I think it might be more similar to the internet and net neutrality with Bitcoin and centralized exchanges rather than the internet and like Verizon FiOS or something. If you like, just because that messes up the design of the system, net neutrality and
just being a provider, it messes with the whole idea and the whole use of the thing. If you start being like, well, we need to make sure that it's equally given out, so let's give control of it. Like that's mostly what I'm scared of. Is
fair.
It's fair. Everything has to be equal. I understand it, I guess, but then the only way you can't just have everybody share and be like, no, you use the internet right now. I don't want to continue whatever I'm wasting my time with right now.
Right.
Like it just like it has to have a centralized point that's going to distribute it. So then you give that control to something. And
so I'm gonna step back. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't have anything else. Please drag me out of this hole.
I'm going to step back to the chat because I like to keep up with it, so I don't want to get too far behind. If anyone else wants to chime in, let us know which one you think is the real Bitcoin at meandbtc.com/live. And also don't forget to jump in the poll at the bottom, whether the new kind should be called BCC or BCH. But anyway, back to the chat. Scrolling up a little bit because I am behind. First of all, Rick says that Roger Ver is a major Bitcoin personality. That is true. And presumably he mostly supports Bitcoin Cash. And that could be a problem for some people. There could be a lot of casual Bitcoiners or reporters or economic journalists or whatever, or fintech journalists who look to Roger Ver as a spokesman for Bitcoin. And they might just assume that Bitcoin Cash is still the original. That could be a huge factor. You're right, Rick. And he also says that some of the original Bitcoin core devs are open to calling BCC the real Bitcoin. It's closer to the original Bitcoin white paper. That's another thing. Because, the original Bitcoin, not just the white paper, but the original software did not have a block size limit. Now, here's my problem with that. And they went over some of this on Free Talk Live. Some people use that argument. They're like, oh, well, the original Bitcoin didn't have a block size limit. Satoshi didn't really want there to be one. They only implemented it because they were getting spammed. But you don't really need one. So what? Okay, so who cares what Satoshi said? Who cares what the white paper said? What's wrong with innovation? That's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is going against the norm to make things better. Now, I'm not advocating for big blocks. I'm not advocating for small blocks. All I'm saying is, who cares what Satoshi said? I know he's our God and we worship him or whatever, but I support innovation. That's what Bitcoin is. I want. Again, you've listened to this show. I'm not saying like, oh, Bitcoin Unlimited today. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying 1 megabyte blocks forever. We've said it countless times that Bitcoin is a huge network handling tons of money, and you got to be careful with changes. And we've said it times. Maybe it should be done with innovation. Maybe all the future innovation should be on different layers. Maybe we should never touch the core protocol again or whatever. We've said all that. But at the same time, like, who cares what the white paper said? The whole point is innovating, trying new things, trying different things. And that's what altcoins are for. But hey, they did that with SegWit. They put SegWit on Litecoin. and everything survived. And so that's why they brought it into Bitcoin. They tested it over and over. So I'm not saying just throw all kinds of new stuff at the wall with Bitcoin. All I'm saying is, who cares what the white paper said? What's wrong with innovation? Sorry, that's another rant we got there.
No, yeah, I agree.
Where did I get onto that? Oh yeah, Rick was saying that Bitcoin Cash could be considered close to the original white paper. So what? So what if the original Bitcoin didn't have a block size limit? If it makes it better, if it makes it decentralized, I want a block size cap. You know, I'm not saying that's my official opinion or that it will be forever. All I'm saying is I don't care what the white paper said. I know that's what would it be called, heresy or something in the Bitcoin space?
Yes, you're taking away from the spiritual doctrine of Satoshi Nakamoto, our Lord and
but it's
High
dead
Chief.
true. Like, it's the white paper.
It's a dogma to like just do this, as far as like this is a purity.
It was his first draft. Like,
yeah, I think
you're just gonna assume that your first draft is, you know, law.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Like, you can't. The whole point of the white paper was to create something that would be new. Did I lose everyone? Oh no, they'll be new and disruptive and innovative, and stopping the innovation right after the first white paper it would be dumb. But like, by that same token, that's why I'm hesitant to just out of hand also reject the idea, or just out of hand think it's bad that things like Coinbase are also bad for the whole space, because they represent not necessarily an innovation on the design of the technology, but a new development of the space that brings it to people who can't read the open source code and think, oh yeah, this is a brilliant, like, innovative tech idea that Satoshi created. It's like, all of it is just developing the same space, and I think it's dangerous to just discount an idea automatically because it conflicts with something we think is key to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and all of that. And that's why like, tons of people are just, for lack of a better word, shitting on Bitcoin Cash. And someone tweeted out, he writes for some magazine, I forget what, but he was like, people who reject an altcoin, whether it's a new Bitcoin like Bitcoin Cash or just a new altcoin in general on Ethereum or any other chain, out of hand, are just closed-minded because they think whatever altcoins they own are the best. And that sort of mindset is bad for the whole point of all of this, which is experimentation and innovation. So maybe a block size limit is good. Maybe it's bad. Maybe 1,000 shit coins is bad. Maybe some of them are good. Like, I just automatically discount people who just reject something out of hand that's new to the space just because they come up with some reason to dislike it. And so that was a rant too. You're rubbing off on me, but I like, no idea is necessarily a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree. It's you know, we've said countless times, we've never had time to get into altcoins, but we have nothing against them. They have a lot of good ideas and do a lot of good work, and some of it makes its way into the Bitcoin space, at least in terms of ideas, because it's so hard to actually add new stuff into Bitcoin. But maybe we'll get there with different things. We got some more great chats coming through here. Good questions and comments. Mr. Hires says, would you consider the supply at 42 million or still 21? No. I'm not. I know I just said, like, you shouldn't outright reject ideas, but I just don't see and so I'm not going to outright reject it, but I'm not interested in it either. Like, I don't see any reason to change the cap, because everyone has always believed in 21. That's what it's been. And who cares what the number is? The number's arbitrary. You know, the price will just go up. The value of a Bitcoin will just go up if they're more valuable. Like, you know, there's all this economic theory about monetary supply and inflation and whatever. Well, I mean, the price is what the price is. I don't need people to be arbitrarily inventing money. That's what got us into this mess in the first place. Now that sounds a little weird to say, because Bitcoin is invented money. But, you know, it's just 21. Like, if if you need 42, then fine. We'll start. We'll just say there's 42 million half Bitcoins, and you'll get your wish. Like, who cares? Like, just 21 is what it is and what it should be. And if you change that, then you're messing with my money, and I don't want you to do that. You know,
well, I mean, part of it does come from the idea that Bitcoin is just that it isn't, you're not able to change it, and you don't really want to think about it in those terms, because that does kind of break up the idea of it pretty quickly. Like, you say that you can only have whatever the 21 million, you said we can just break it into halves. Like, you can have whatever.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Here's your 42 million, sir. 42 million half Bitcoins. Discussion closed.
I think that's probably not what you want to think about at first, because it's a lot of it is sold on the I mean, it's truthful in mathematics, but then that's also then why it can then just be divided like that, I guess. Right? I mean, if that makes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the economic theory, I'm not an economist, I don't know all of it, but the theory is that if you don't have inflation, then people are going to be hoarding their Bitcoins because, the price is going to go up, so they're never going to spend Bitcoins. But that's absurd. Like, the price is not going to go up if nobody is using Bitcoin. They'll use it's just market. They'll use it they'll spend it if the price goes up and it's worth something. They'll keep a little bit. It's market. The price going up, you say it encourages you to hoard. I say it encourages other people to spend. If the price is going up, then people are going to spend it because they got free money. We just talked about that today. Free money. Okay, I want to spend it. We got free money from Bitcoin Cash, and so you spend. Although that's what they would say is like, yeah, that's what drives the economy is free money. So we need to get up to 42 million because then there'll be free money and people will be spending it. It's economics. It's a million things. I'm sure. I mean, I'm not explaining it right, and I'm sure I don't understand it right. But as far as I'm concerned, it's the market. Like, so what? So people are holding Bitcoin. That's because they believe it'll go up in value, and it'll be worth more. And then if you're trying to buy a cup of coffee, then you'll give them half a millibit instead of a millibit. Like, so what? It's the market. I don't want the market to be arbitrarily just decided that, oh, well, let's make 42 million. I'm sorry. I know you thought you had 121 million, but nah, not today. You got 142 million. I don't want other people to be messing with my money in that way. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
Geez. Okay, well, yeah, still got to roll through this chat because we got some good stuff. This is stepping back a little bit, but Rick says you need adoption and noobs to drive the price. To that, I would say the same thing. Who freaking cares? Who cares if the price goes up? I don't. I still have Bitcoin. I'm still going to use Bitcoin. It allows me to be free in all these ways. Yeah, sure. I hope the price will go up, but I don't need noobs to make the price go up. I just have Bitcoin and I'm just going to use it whenever I want to use Bitcoin, whatever the price is.
Yeah, but that's because you don't care. You're not like, there's a lot of people I think who probably got into this, made a lot of money, probably spent a little bit too much money. Like, I'd like to, maybe if we could, like, find people who had, like, whenever it first started getting bad, had like millions and millions of dollars, and see what happened to them. Like, and compare that to what happens to like NFL players. Like, people get
whoa. I find people that what?
They got like
I did not follow that at all. You left out like half of your words in that sentence.
No, I didn't leave out half my words. Maybe you didn't hear half of them. What I'm saying is you are in a position to be to where you do not have to care about your Bitcoin money because you're smart. You don't put that much money into it. That to where if you lose it or if you want to buy more and you've sold it before and you've lost money on it, and that's what I was saying on top of that is I'd like to be able to talk to someone like the people who got like, oh, I have like $3 million now, and what they did with that and how they're doing now. Like they're going to be secret probably because they probably live in like an apartment. Don't want
okay. So you're talking about Bitcoin millionaires, people who bought super low and it went way up. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
So you're saying they're going to still want the price to be driven up?
No. Well, I mean, they will, I think.
I mean,
because
obviously
if
everybody
you're
wants
that invested, like you most likely have a lifestyle that at least somewhat is supported by that. Or because I feel like even the most careful planner who is like, I'm going to save all this, is still going to be like, I'm going to take a little bit to pay for some stuff. And what I'm saying is one, this, like, the price continuing to go up gets in the way of, like what we're saying, news, people coming like, I want to buy it at lower. I mean, you just have to assume it's going to go higher. It might not.
Well, hold on. Which is it? Does the price going up attract people or detract people? I thought we said we needed noobs to drive the price up. Now you're saying driving the price up will drive the noobs away.
At a certain
That's
point,
what I'm trying to rant about a little bit tonight. I don't know why I'm in a ranty mood, but who freaking cares? That's my advice of the week. All right. I don't care. It's the market. You know, if noobs are interested, they'll be interested. If noobs aren't interested, they won't be interested. I don't care about getting every single person in the world hooked on Bitcoin so that I become tomorrow's Bitcoin millionaire. Who the frick cares?
Some people do.
Yeah,
Some
I know.
people,
I'm saying they're idiots. I'm not saying they don't.
A lot of money, spend a lot of money, and now don't have as much money. I'm like, we need this to go up. Like, you know, that's what most people's lives are. Like, it's money. Like, this can get me a lot of money really quick, and that'd be cool. It'd be cool just to have like millions of dollars in a cryptocurrency. You'd be like, this hasn't happened before. So people are gonna fight over that, and I think that's where you're gonna get most of the problems, where it's the people first coming into it, and then the people who've been into it for a while, and then trade it like at like way low, and then it jumps back up, and like I lost all my money just as quickly as I got it in the first place. It's going to be the people who either this is their first experience and it could turn them off because it's this expensive and it's kind of getting confusing as to what, at least on the surface, it's confusing as to what you're supposed to buy. And then the people who have been in it for a while and then just have not been trading well, and they're like, we just want this to go down now.
Yeah. All right, well, enough about noobs. I got to keep getting through this chat. There are 6 other coins. This is from Matthew. There are 6 other coins that use the word Bitcoin in their name. Bitcoin Dark, Bitcoin Planet, Bitcoin Plus, Bitcoin TX, and Bitcoin Script, and Bitcoin Fast. Yeah, so the point there, I'm assuming, is that, you know, branding hasn't been an issue before. There's all these other Bitcoin coins, and Bitcoin, the original, still is Bitcoin. So, yeah, I can generally agree with that. Like, who the frick cares what you call it? If you have to specify which one you mean, you can do that. Like, we all know if you're spending Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin. If you have to say Bitcoin Core, then sure, say it if that's necessary. Yeah, anyway. The fork, this is from Rick again. There is no conflict between them. This fork was civil war. 2 groups claiming to be the true vision of BTC, and the price between them could be close to the same. That's confusing for noobs. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. So a noob gets confused. Next question. Sorry, Rick. We love you.
Apparently not Daniel tonight. Daniel's angry at the world. All these new people, all these new kids are coming in ruining Bitcoin. I remember back when Bitcoin was something serious.
Back in my day.
Mr.
Hires says, if BCH gains hash power over the next few weeks or months, panic will ensue? I could see that. Yeah, and the original Bitcoin, I could see it panicking if Bitcoin Cash starts to gain a lot more traction. Oh, I could totally see that. And maybe that's an argument for me not to sell my Bitcoin Cash, because maybe it will gain traction and maybe it will drive the original Bitcoin out. And maybe I should be hanging on to my cash. I don't know.
Yes.
What if you invest in one and not the other, and it starts losing ground? Panic. Yeah. So that's just what Mr. Hires was saying, and I agree. That could totally happen. One of the two could start to gain a bunch of traction real quick, and the other one could panic. No doubt that could happen. John G, welcome to the show tonight. He says, "Hey guys." Rick says, most people care about making money. Not everyone is a Bitcoin idealist. I agree. And I still say, who cares? You're right. It's a fact, and I also would love to make money. So yeah, I'm gonna do things. I'm gonna be incentivized to do things that will drive the Bitcoin price up. Sure, especially if I own some. And at the same time, yeah, maybe I'm a Bitcoin idealist because I use Bitcoin because it makes me free. I'll admit that. But I would still love to get rich. So that's why, I don't know, maybe you'll see me going back and forth on this show. Sometimes I'll appeal to the masses, and sometimes I'll stick to my guns and say it's free. I don't know. Most people in, this is Mr. Hires again, most people in BTC aren't believers. Same idea. They're not idealists. They're not believers. They're in it to gamble or make money. Rick has the same thoughts. Guys, this has been fun. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Reminder to anyone else that hasn't been there yet. The chat is at you, me, and btc.com/live. The video and the chat and the show notes and the links and the tweet buttons and the poll. I'm real interested in this poll. Should we call it BCC or BCH? What should the ticker symbol be? I don't know. Ah, geez. All right, where are we, guys? What did I miss? That was fun. I ranted a lot. So where does this leave us? I'm in a ranty mood. Okay, I feel like saying "who cares" a lot tonight. What is that a good thing? I know. Okay, so
let's be like, let's talk about. Never mind. Go, because you just want to yell anyway. Go.
We joke on the show. No, I got a question. We joke on the show all the time about how we always just end up saying, I don't know. Who cares? It is what it is. Life is life. We joke about that all the time. That's the classic you, me, and BTC conclusion is, I don't know. But for whatever reason, tonight, I'm in a mood. I don't know. Rather than just saying, I don't know, maybe Bitcoin Cash will go out ahead. I mean, that's still ultimately what I'm saying, but for whatever reason, I'm more whiny and screamy about it. I feel like saying, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Bitcoin Cash will come out ahead. How am I supposed to know? Who cares what the white paper said? Who cares if we call it Bitcoin Cash or Bcash? Who cares if it's BCC or BCH? Who cares if?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you weren't screaming until you started doing that, so there's that. No one else thought you were squealing until that happened. But it's okay. It's the problem is people can. There are very few people who can have an opinion and not have the opinion like have them. Like the opinion just rules over them.
That's a good way to put it.
Like if you attack the opinion, they're like, "Wait, that's what I think, so fuck you," and it doesn't. Why? How dare you not think? Because it's not even like it should be just like you don't think the way I think, but you're like, no, you're attacking you're attacking me. This is it's fucking cryptocurrency, and people act like it's a tenant to like their child. They're like, my child is going to be born and be recorded onto the blockchain. It's like, oh, that's weird that you need like I don't care. Like half the reason I don't like centralized stuff is because I'm like, this is stupid. Like, yeah, we're like, sure, record stuff on a blockchain thing, but it doesn't really matter. Why are we like, there's a news thing for it. That's a long time ago. That's like a very Harvard thing that I was just been angry about for a long time. But yeah, I agree with Daniel. It doesn't matter. Half the time you see people just arguing on Twitter. It's like you're literally arguing about nothing, but just because you're both personalities on Twitter, you feel like you have to start an argument.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what they have to do, but it's like, this is just like, you tweet about positivity. I'm like, this is just garbage just to make me just like suck part of my life and be like, these people are having an argument. This is exciting because it's a little bit of like fighting or something.
I guess the biggest thing for me is that when I say all this stuff, who cares about this or that? It's not so much. Obviously, everyone cares. I have to decide: am I going to buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin? Am I going to buy Bitcoin Cash or sell Bitcoin Cash, or not buy one or the other? I have to make those decisions. I have to decide which one I like better, or if I'm going to put exactly half of my money into both, or exactly none of my money into both. I have to make all those decisions, like logically, the laws of physics say, you know, or math or whatever, say that I have to own some or none of Bitcoin. And logically, mathematically, physically, I have to own some or none of Bitcoin Cash. So my point with that is I have to make that decision. I can't escape it. There's no way in life that other than just doing nothing, but that is also a decision. So with all that said, I have to decide which one I like better. Every time I speak words, I have to decide if I'm going to call it Bitcoin Cash or Bcash. I can't physically get around that. I have to call it something. I could make up a new name if I want and hope that people agree. So when I say who cares, I mean, I have an opinion.
On this show, we can just call it Tim's ass. Anytime we talk about Bitcoin, it's like, yeah. Tim's ass.
I like it. I like it. No, Bitcoin Cash. We're just going to call it Tim's ass. Yep. No, my point is I have to logically, mathematically, physically, I have to have an opinion. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy something or sell something or one or the other, whatever. The reason I still keep saying who cares is despite my opinion, I have no idea if I'm right. That's what it all comes down to. I'm gonna probably here's what it is. I'm probably gonna hold on to my original Bitcoin. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just trigger you? I called it original Bitcoin. Whatever. And I'm probably gonna sell some of my Bitcoin Cash over time. Oh, sorry. Did I just call it Bitcoin Cash? Are you triggered again? So I'm sorry, but still. So I'm gonna make those decisions. I generally prefer Bitcoin, and I would love for it to stay at 21 million. But with all of that said, I'm still going to say who the frick cares because I have no idea which one is better. I don't have a freaking clue. I don't know which one is going to set me more free. I don't know which one is going to make me pay less taxes. I don't know. So that's why I'm just going to keep saying who cares about all this stuff. I don't care if it's BCC or BCH. Like that one, of all things, that's like the least important one to me.
Very important, dude. You know how many retweets someone got for posting that first? You understand how good that felt to have a bunch of boom, boom, boom on their phone?
Yeah, that's right. You're right. I got to be a better Twitter personality and just start getting into all these arguments. I need to start engaging Cyril Blank more. No, we seriously love you, Cyril. I'm not the arguing type.
Okay, wait. I'm going to prove that the Earth is a pyramid. The Egyptians built pyramids, but how did they do it? And they did it because the pyramids are just little planets from the rest of the world. They're actually little universes that we actually brought and settled on the Earth. So there you go. Pyramid Earth.
My internet cut out and I just came back. You said pyramids are little planets. Like,
Zach, you don't understand.
All right. Well, first of all, a little bit more chat here. Mr. Hires and Rick are loving the show. Daniel is in beast mode tonight. Show is great tonight. Tim is so funny. That's from James Bond. I think he accidentally dropped his cat on his keyboard or something. I don't know where that came out.
Smart guy.
But here's a similar question, but from a slightly different angle. So we'll go ahead and attack this one. Rick says, it doesn't matter, you say, but what if the confusion in BTC leads to a flippening? Would it matter then? And to that, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, maybe I would lose money. Sure. Maybe Tim's ass would take over Bitcoin original. It could happen. But still, like, who am I to say? Maybe that's better. Yeah, so there's a flippening. What if Bitcoin Cash, Tim's ass is better? I don't know. Like that's why I can't freak out about this stuff because I just have no idea. Yeah, I might lose money because I told you a few minutes ago I'm probably going to keep Bitcoin and I'm probably going to sell Tim's ass. But
no, wait, you have to sell the Bitcoin Cash version of my ass, which is the kind of maybe it's going to be accepted someplace kind of.
Yeah, a lot of exchanges don't even accept Tim's ass right now.
No, most people do not accept my ass.
But honestly, so I was going to add, before my internet cut out again, I was going to add on to Dan's comment and say, I agree most like 90% with the who cares mindset. And I'm sometimes tempted to just put Bitcoin and now that I have some free Tim ass in a cold storage wallet and just ignore the prices altogether, because my belief when I approach Bitcoin is that it will never go to zero, at least in my lifetime. And in fact, it will the price will, no matter how much, it will continue to climb. And so if I just continue, if I choose to buy Bitcoin, and if I continue to buy more and more and just put it in a wallet somewhere and just ignore it and ignore the price, everything, in a year or 5 or 10, I will end up with more Bitcoin at a higher exchange rate than it has today, which means I end up better off. So at the end of the day, who cares? None of this matters for that reason, that I think Bitcoin will continue to become more valuable. And so if I choose to buy it, that means I will own something more valuable at the end of N years. Yeah,
it's true. And that's I was, like I said, I would probably sell some of my Tim's ass, but not all of it. There's probably some out there that I wouldn't feel like redeeming and would just sit on for a while. And same idea. Like I love sitting on Tim's ass. I'm sorry. but yeah, same idea. Like it could take off in the price, and if it goes to zero, well, I still have my Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to zero, well, at least I can still hold on to my Tim's ass. But so John G lays out some actual, at least to some extent, not in depth, but instead of just saying one or the other is better, he puts out some reasoning that bigger blocks lead to centralization. And I will say I totally agree. I mean, I'm not the expert, but I've heard a lot about this discussion, and logically, I think that makes sense. Bigger blocks will lead to centralization. So when I say, like, who cares? Maybe Bcash is better. I'm not saying that I see benefits of Bcash. I'm not saying that I want there to be a flippening and I want Tim's ass to take over. But I'm just saying, like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are better. But at the same time, I agree with a lot of the things that Tim G and a bunch of people on Twitter say. Yeah, I'm not a fan of big blocks. That's why I said I'll probably sell my Tim's ass, because it's, for the exact same reason. I've heard about drawbacks to big blocks. I've heard that it could lead to centralization. I'm not a huge fan of centralization. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'm going to engage in some of those discussions about the mechanics of blocks and blockchains and incentives and economics. I'll engage in those discussions and try to have an opinion. And I logically have to make an opinion for my own property, that, the coins that I own or don't own or whatever. So yeah, I'm willing to engage in those discussions. I guess I like engaging in those discussions when I have something not stupid to say, and at least I like listening to them too. But I think one of the reasons why who cares is such a good answer also is because and we lost him.
Down. Tries to get something out and then they shut it down. There has to be something.
Yeah, I know. Now I know what I sounded like a few weeks back.
Out again.
Oh, you're back. What's up? Finish
off.
Yeah,
I was mid rant and then none of you guys were moving. I was like, shit. So the reason why, like, I enjoy those discussions, listening and contributing sometimes, but the reason why who cares is such a good answer is because no one knows what's going to happen. Whether Tim's ass or Bitcoin or Potcoin or any of these are going to become such a good coin. And so just choose something that you think will not go to zero, and at least like the alpha will continue to grow a little bit. Buy it and hold on to it. Like, because that's the best you can do. You can try and like play the prices short term or medium term or long term. I was going somewhere really good with that, and then I forgot. But yeah, that's the best you can do. No one.
We lost him again. But yeah, it's true. You're never gonna be able to play the markets. Well, maybe you will. It's like gambling. I mean, maybe you will get lucky and win the lottery, but you can't rely on it. You got to just make reasonable decisions based on the best information you can.
Each other.
Tim's ass cash.
So we got, all right, we're at the hour mark, and I've said before I like to cut it off pretty quick here. So we will I want to answer one more question just in a quick minute or two from each of us. This is from Matthew, and this is a super different ballpark. but a really important question that we didn't touch on today. What's your opinion on whether exchanges like Coinbase are legally obligated to provide forked coins or airdropped coins like Byteball? I don't know much about Byteball, but yeah. So should Coinbase be legally required to give their customers Bitcoin Cash? I say hell no.
Yeah, hell no.
Like, did you ever? It was a convenience. They warned you ahead of time, and they said, hey, withdraw your coins if you want Bitcoin Cash. They not only did they warn you, but like, why would you ever trust them in the first place? Whether or not something's legal or illegal or whatever, why the heck would you trust them in the first place? Even if they were legally obligated, why would you trust them anyway? Just withdraw your coins. Hold your own money. Don't let them hold your money.
It's like
I don't care what the law says.
It's like asking, should a gas station be legally obligated to give you chips and Gatorade when you fill up your tank? Like, no. And you're right. They drafted a whole email, even if people read it and were like, what the hell is a fork besides this pencil?
Yeah. Well, the difference is that, what is the difference between your gas station analogy? The difference is that, you know, the Bitcoin Cash is considered part of the pre-August 1st Bitcoin. A pre-August 1st Bitcoin included a Bitcoin Cash and a regular Bitcoin. That's kind of the idea. So I mean, obviously chips and a Gatorade are not included with your gas, but the argument would be that, well, what if something happened and, you know, gold came out again? It's hard. There's no real way to compare it. The best way is a stock split. I mean, if you have, you know, 100 Apple stocks stored on E-Trade and Apple splits, I'm assuming they're legally obligated to give you 200 shares of Apple stock. But why? And sure, like, whatever, like, it's good. It's helpful that there's a law about that, maybe, because people should, it is their stock or whatever. I don't know, but who cares? Why would you trust them? Why would you trust E-Trade to hold your stock and make sure they give you all of it? I don't know why you would. But unfortunately, and, you know, without blockchain, there's no way to truly own the stock. So you're trusting them anyway, and that you got to do that sometimes in life. Anyway, I don't want to go too long. So thanks for the chat, everyone. Hey, one-liners, guys. You got a one sentence maximum advice of the week. Mine, super simple. Who the frick cares? All right, Tim and Zach, one sentence, go for it, and we are out.
People are dumb.
All right, what you got for us, Tim?
Fuck the world.
Nope, you're done. That's one sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. This has been You, Me, and Tim's Ass. Episode number 186. Thanks for jumping in the chat. James Bond, John G, Matthew, Rick, Mr. Hires, anyone else that was up there. We got some new people. Always great to have new audience members in the chat room. Don't forget to hit a share button. Hit that follow button on Twitter at You, Me, and BTC. Don't forget to, during the next week, while you don't have much to listen to or whatever, don't forget to head to You, Me, and BTC.com. Dewey Point, Dewey Porn Star. Thanks for jumping in the chat last minute here. I guess I'll have to ask you to roll it back to the beginning because we're about to close out, but we're still glad you're here. And we'll see you next week, Dewey Porn Star and everyone else. It's been a blast. In the meantime, You, Me, and BTC.com. The music that you're listening to right now probably sucks. Peace out, homie G's.
Bye, everyone.